War images have consistently been a major part of society since World War II. Sometimes, these images invoke feelings such as disturbing, or in some cases, patriotic. However, since images of war have become public, the human emotion that is felt when viewing these images has never changed. What has changed is the technology to produce these images. This project is going to explain how the relationship between technology and war images has impacted society, examining images from World War II, Vietnam, the First Gulf War, and the current Iraq War. Before we understand how the advancement of technology and these war images have impacted society, we must first understand semiotics. Semiotics is the study of signs. Linguist Ferdinand de Saussure argued that a sign is broken down into two components: the signifier, which is an image, sound, or word, over the signified, the meaning that is carried. This is known as signification. An easier way to understand this concept is that the signified expresses the signifier, as explained by Roland Barthes in his article, Myth Today. For example, when you see the word tree, which is the signifier, naturally you think of a tree, which is the signified concept. However, each person who looks at this word will culturally infer it differently. Using signification, when looking at the image on the right, we see dead soldiers lying on a beach with a landing craft in the background. We know they are soldiers based on what they are wearing. This could be culturally inferred as an image from a previous war, or to others this could trigger emotions such as disturbing or even patriotic once it is understood as to what the image is. On the left, a photographer. We would assume that she might be a photographer for a war based on the fact that she is wearing a steel helmet. Furthermore, when we see the camera and recognize that it is an older model, one would naturally think that this picture is older. Nonetheless, each emotion that is felt will be different than everyone else's. Before World War II, images of war were not allowed to be published. However, in 1943, President Roosevelt had lifted this ban. Pictured on the right is one of the most famous World War II photographs ever taken, which was featured in Life magazine in September of 1943, even though the photographer who took the picture was not a journalist of Life magazine. At this point, the general public had never seen images of this kind, and was intended to cause anger and controversy, which it did. In Michael Griffin's article, The Great War Photographs Constructing Myths of History and Photojournalism, he explains how the armed forces had trained thousands of photographers for military duty, such as the photographer pictured on the left. Because of the technology at the time, photographers were not able to capture any action shots. They most often had to set up a tripod before taking a picture, so images were typically taken when a battle was over. Vietnam was renowned as being the first war that was broadcasted on television. At the time, only 3 major television networks were involved: CBS, NBC, and ABC. However, in contrast to World War II, journalists and photographers of 4 magazines including Life, Look, Time, and Newsweek, as well as newspapers such as the New York Times and the Washington Post, were in Vietnam obtaining coverage of the war. With the advancement of cameras, this now made it possible for photographers of major media sources to obtain shots of the war themselves, rather than the military. However, what this represented was the media was now in control of the images of war. Censoring images did not occur at any point during the Vietnam War. In the article Rethinking American Press Coverage of the Vietnam War, Andrew Hebner explains that with all the technological advances of the 1960s, military officials felt that images could not be censored. Pictured on the left is a photographer stationed in Vietnam. On the right, a pilot in a helicopter with a soldier dead at his feet. Images such as these were produced quite often in periodicals throughout the Vietnam War. This was new for Americans because images were more graphic. Technology allowed journalists to be part of the war. According to Ryan Barber and Tom Weir, authors of the article Vietnam to Desert Storm, Topics, Sources Change, they explain that when images were shown that were more graphic, such as the one pictured, this resulted with public support being at its lowest, as well as anti-war riots. Because of this, coverage after the Vietnam War had received heavy censorship. In 1991, President Bush put a censorship on war images being released to the public right after the Gulf War started. This had to do a lot with the loss of public support during the Vietnam War. The Gulf War was often referred to as the Nintendo War because television and images rarely showed soldiers fighting. In Body Horror by John Taylor, he writes about how viewers were most often shown images of aircraft taking off and missiles hitting their target. In turn, this resulted with stronger support because the general public was thinking that because the troops were moving forward with this new technology, the troops would be coming home soon. What this represented was that even though the technology had improved enough to portray photographs of casualties more graphic than ever before, the censorship law prevented them from going public. Although some images had leaked through to newspapers, they were often not printed for quite a while. Printed on the left is a soldier video recording from a helicopter. Most often, as mentioned previously, this is what the news had shown. An aerial view of buildings blowing up rather than casualties. The image on the right was taken during the final days of the Gulf War. While the image portrays a wounded soldier, this image does not explain why the soldier in the middle of the picture is upset. One could infer that perhaps it is because the reality of war is too much to bear, and that as a result of seeing this, a signified emotion of sadness takes place. However, when this picture was displayed in the Los Angeles Times, it was noted that the soldier that is upset had just found out the person in the body bag to the right of the image is his best friend. The current war in Iraq began in 2003 when the United States launched an invasion into Iraq. While to this day the same censorship law that was created in 1991 is still in effect, the advancements with technology has been a major impact. Soldiers now have camera phones, digital cameras, and digital camcorders. What this represents is that the current Iraq war is being presented from a soldier's perspective.
Get some! Get some! Get some! Shoot! Throw my fucking weapon in jam! Use a 16! Use a 16! Get the M16 up there! I can't see him! I got him, sir. I got him. Slow down! I got him, sir. There he is! I got him. Slow the fuck down! Roger that, sir. Go! Go! Shoot those motherfuckers! Stop! 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 Roger that. Shoot him! Let me out! Let me out!
You do not need a tripod to take an action shot, nor a camera so expensive that only the military or a major news source can capture these images. Today, a soldier can take a picture, upload it to the internet, and can be viewed